So the Salkinds planned to make the fourth Superman movie if Superman 3 grossed at least $40 million despite the negative response for the third movie. It grossed $80.2 million. Even the commercial failures of Supergirl and their next film, Santa Claus the Movie, comes along. They caused them financial strain. They began to consider if the franchise had run its course. Elia Salkind agreed to sell Superman franchise to Menachem Golan and Yoram Globus of the Cannon Group Incorporated for $5 million in June 1985. After the negotiations during the 38th Cannes Film Festival, Christopher Reeve was considered to direct the movie, but he was allowed to direct some second unit scenes. He was ultimately deemed too inexperienced for the full-time job. Richard Donner said Cannon unsuccessfully asked him to return to the series. Wes Craven was considered, but him and Reeve didn't get along, so Reeve recommended Ron Howard, but Sidney J. Furie was chosen. Shortly before the production began at Elstree Studios on 27th of September 1986, Cannon reduced the budget from $36 million to $17 million. Part of the problem was that Cannon financed its problem by selling the television and home video rights in advance, which failed with films of a budget of over $5 million. The studio had also gone 6 years without a major hit. Also was narrowly saved from bankruptcy after a deal with Warner Brothers to provide $75 million to repay its loans in the exchange for distribution rights to its more films, including the fourth movie, which provided enough confidence in the studio for a $65 million line of the credit from the First Bank of Boston. The filming and the special effects crews of the first three films were replaced with cheaper Israeli crews during the making of the film. They filmed the Smallville scene in farmland outside Baldock in North Hertfordshire. Even though the one from the first movie was still standing in Blackie, Alberta, those actors reprised the role. Christopher Reeve as Superman is the best thing about the movie. He really does give off a great speech.
What our governments have been unwilling or unable to do. Effective immediately, I'm going to rid our planet of all nuclear weapons.
Apparently he was reluctant to return at first, bowing out from the planned cameo appearance in Supergirl, and he also came up with an idea of a storyline focused on the nuclear arms race in protest of the breakdown of the Reykjavik summit and President Ronald Reagan's military build-up and skepticalism towards arms control, and they accepted his story. Mark Pillow plays Nuclear Man, a villain of the story who was created by Lex with Superman's DNA. And he is voiced by Gene Hackman. This is Nuclear Man from a deleted scene played by Clive Mantle, somewhat more inhuman looking than his successor and resembled in both looks and personality the comic book character Bizarro. John Cryer plays Lenny Luthor, Lex's nephew. Great actor, and it's so cool that he later played Lex in Supergirl, Arrow, and Batwoman CW series. Sam Wanamaker plays David Warfield, media mogul and tabloid publisher who owns the Daily Planet in this movie, who replaced Perry White. Muriel Hemingway plays Lacey Warfield, who's in love with Clark Kent, and became the editor after her father taking over. Damien McLawhorn plays Jeremy, who wanted Superman to stop everyone with the nuclear missiles.
Well, I'd write a letter to that would do some good.
Who, Santa Claus?
No, Superman.
Superman.
It's pretty bizarre seeing William Hootkins and Jim Broadbent in this movie. William, who I've known him as Porkins in Star Wars, Major Eaton in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Lieutenant Eckhart in Batman, and Jim Broadbent as Slughorn from Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and Pot Clock in The Borrowers.
What is that god-awful noise you're making?
It's pretty funny in the end where the thugs, including the one who looks a bit like Otis, whistled at Lex as he comes back to the Labour camp to annoy him.
Shut up!
Alright, Marshal, take him away.
Thank you kindly, Superman.
So Mark Rosenthal, the writer, said in the gallery of deleted scenes included on the disc, there are approximately 45 minutes of the film that haven't been seen by the general public. They were deleted following a failed Southern California test screening, including the original Nuclear Man engaging Superman in battle outside the Metro Club, and being destroyed by Superman, not every deleted scenes made it to the deluxe edition of the DVD. Clark Kent visiting his adopted parents' grave. This scene was to have preceded the film's theatrical scene where Clark returns to Smallville to meet the contractor in hopes of selling or leasing the Kent farm. There's also another deleted scene with Lacey and Clark's romance showing them dancing in the Metro Club. Was also not released on disc. Cannon Films was thinking of doing the fifth film with Albert Pyun as the director, but Superman 4 was panned by everyone due to the special effects and plot holes. Cannon's bankruptcy ended up giving the rights back to the Salkinds. The story had Superman dying and resurrecting in the shrunken, bottled Krypton city of Kandor. Superman's death and rebirth ironically was written in the Death of Superman 1992 comic book. As no further films of Donnerverse were made, Superman's final line to Lex Luthor would have been "See you in 20" proved pathetic as another Superman film was made. In late 1987, DC Comics created a comic of Superman 4, written by Bob Rozakis and drawn by Kurt Swan and Don Heck. The edition included different lines from the movie and events from the additional scenes. In place of a voiceover from Laura, in the early scene involving Superman flying the mysterious crystal, there was a projection of Jor-El as well. The Nuclear Man looks like Bizarro at one point. The movie has a different ending with Superman and Jeremy flying above the Earth, observing that the planet is, in reality, just one world, rather than divided worlds one sees on a man-made map. Also, Jeremy is seen in orbit with spacesuit, but in the deleted footage, he is not wearing any vacuum protection of any kind, as was Lacey Warfield when she was rescued from the second Nuclear Man by Superman. Plus, that ending appeared in the deluxe edition DVD, incorporated in the deleted footage section. There is also a novel written by Bonnie Bryant, with deleted scenes included, and released in 1987 as well as the movie. But the next live-action Superman movie comes out nearly 2 decades later, starring Brandon Roth. The 2006 Superman Returns.